in session from till about 7:15. Roll call was Wade and Gail, Scott, Rhonda, and myself. We discussed local landmark designation, which would be the Senior Center and the Elks, and also CLG, which is Certified Local Government, and we talked about Preservation Conference being the first weekend in February in Denver. It's for 2 days, and it may be eligible for funds. Also, we would be applying for grants to bring others for in-house training. Pioneer Museum Project was another topic of conversation. Working on a grant for insulation for HVAC, and also the History Club is putting together artifacts into a timeline for oil, coal, and the entrepreneurs of Mr. McLeod and Fraser, resulting in an antique history tour. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, December 15th at 6 o'clock. And that's about it. Wade will fill you in on another topic.
Good deal. Anyone else? Charlotte?
I attended a UACOG phone meeting regarding broadband in Fremont County. There's been a grant that has been issued to CenturyLink that's going to help provide broadband to the underserved communities. Florence is not considered an underserved community as of right now, but our neighbors are in Rockville, Williamsburg, Coal Creek, and East Florence. So the benefit to us is that they're going to improve some of our speeds and some of our reliability issues as they add some service to the underserved communities. But I would urge Mr. Patterson and Mr. Broadhead to get with CenturyLink to talk about opening up the road and how we could partner with them to make this a reality.
Larry?
Well, I have, maybe the city manager might have put this one, but I'll take it anyways. The city manager and I, we attended the Federal Prison Community Outreach Program quarterly meeting, and the good news is they have started a service dog training program that the inmates are now operating, and they're in charge of the dogs and so forth, and they actually had a demonstration. It's thus far very, very successful, and it is, in fact, they did report that the inmates, I mean, and you could see it as they were doing their number there, they were so enthused about being able to handle a dog. It's unreal just how their attitude was so positive. And the service is for all types of dogs. For example,
I don't think they do police dogs.
They don't do police dogs. That's the one they don't do. But for example, if a diabetic person, this dog can pick up if the blood sugar goes low or high, and the dog will alert the patient to this fact. Another one is for hearing, and that would be if the telephone rings, doorbell rings, smoke alarm goes off, the dog will take action and alert people. That's just some example of it. So the program has just really got started, and I have to say it is putting inmates to good use, and I tell you, they were so gung-ho that this program's available for them to work in. So, and actually I talked to Mike, I said, perhaps maybe along the way some night at a council meeting that we might invite them to come in and actually put on a demonstration. I think it's a little too early because the dogs aren't quite ready. So, but it's a great program to see this in operation.
And so after they get done training these dogs, they put them out into the community?
Right. They go to...
Great deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is a national organization that's working with the federal complex.
That's a great program. Mm-hmm. Anyone else? Paul?
Councilman Henniger and myself visited with the Olson LaForge Advisory Committee, and it was Florence probably has the best attendance at that committee. And what it boiled down to right now, they are in the process of changing hats, so to speak, trying to get reorganized because the Fords had blocked Portland out. And to make a long story short, I think that they are good neighbors. And in turn, I think that, they're being good neighbors, not only to the city of Florence, but to the whole county. So consequently, I told them that if there was ever a need to contact Mike or the mayor, if we could help them with a little recommendation or something to that nature. And very graciously, they gave us a gift certificate for under $50. I want you all know that because that was the limit that was stated at the...
For what, concrete or what? Oh, I'm just curious.
Red Lobster.
For the meal?
Yes.
For their meal provided.
No, they gave us a gift card for Red Lobster.
For Red Lobster, we don't get them. Okay. See?
It was under $50. I do want everyone to know that orientation made that point very clear. Gifts under 50.
I think it's $53 now, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it's 53.
Okay, good deal. I thought it was for eggs concrete, but that's better Red Lobster, actually.
Well, there's about 5 restaurants that you could use the card at.
Okay. Any other committee reports? And department heads. Sam, you got anything? Brandon?
You don't have to.
You don't have to, but if you got anything to say, go ahead.
Well, I'm starting to revisit the street priority list.
Cool.
Start prioritizing some of this list of stuff. Me and Mr. Patterson are going to get together and review this. And before we take any steps toward repairing these streets, I'd like you folks' input upon your streets. I'm going to get a list together for prioritizing. It's what I think and Mr. Patterson thinks we need to invest in first. But I'd like to get this list out to you all, and you guys can drive around and set your priorities. That way we can get a plan together and get started in the spring upon some of these streets. And we did cut down a tree in Lions Park, but we left 16 to 20 foot tall for maybe a future sculpture.
And we will have a public hearing in January on the streets as well.
Yes, yeah. I just want to get it together.
Paul?
Just ask Mike and Sam, is it, since the half-cent sales tax passed for the roads, it was mentioned at one point in time that we were looking into getting a machine to...
We continue to work on that.
Done any...
We have done some research. We got some quotes coming in for it.
Great, outstanding.
Yeah. On his way, you bet.
And the budget shows the anticipation of spending that money next year on streets. There could be a little bit that gets reserved for the next year, but the plan right now is to try to be repairing streets right from the get-go.
Yeah. So we want to put a plan together to move forward with this. And some of these streets, mind you, we have to work hand in hand with the water department. Some of these water mains are very, very old.
Yeah, we don't want to fix the street and come back and tear the water main up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and I'll make notations on that too to show you what has the older water mains in them and stuff.
That's Canyon City model.
Yeah.
That was the attorney who said that for the record.
Just saying.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Any questions for Sam?
Yeah, Sam, while you're up there, you all know we have a new computerized water reading system. I want to compliment Sam and Martin and Stacy. We had an issue with 2 houses, and the computer programming switched houses. One of them had a leak, and we thought it was the other house. But as soon as they got it figured out, they got it straightened out right away. So there wasn't any more water leaking involved, putting in new water lines. But anyway, I say, they get right on things and fix them.
Thank you.
You do an excellent job. Okay. Thank you, Sam. Any other department heads? Uh-oh.
They're all right.
I was told I have to make this at least 7 minutes long, so no, I'm good. Just to reiterate, as we talked about in the community meeting, we had Timberline here this last week and got the skate at the upper airport worked on. We now have full function of the alarms up there if the diesel engine fire pump kicks on for any reason, as well as the 2 jockey pumps that are pressurizing that airport system up there. And from here, this week and the weeks coming, we are preparing for our sanitary survey. Like I've stated in the past, it is scheduled for December 22nd, and this is a big one. It happens every 3 years. It's a state inspection. So we're just trying our best to prepare for it and get everything fixed that we can. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Next. Do you guys take a number back there or what?
Good evening. Last couple of weeks have been a grant-orama, but it's good news. And so, like Manfred said, we put in for a small Colorado Tree Committee. We became members and we applied for a $2,000 grant that would allow us not only plant new trees, but actually trim and maintain and maybe take out some trees. And I talked to Sam in West Maine is one of the worst places. So if we get that grant, we'll be able to do some, not only take out trees, but then be able to replace them. It didn't take a lot of time, so it seemed like it was worth a shot to get a couple $1,000s out of them. Another one is Safe Routes to School is back, and they're going to be funded for education as well as infrastructure. And so I've been talking to somebody at Bicycle Colorado who I've worked with before on doing grants. I know Paul is always trying to find money for sidewalks, and it's a really hard one to find money for, but I've talked to Jan Draper at the elementary school, and it's a good program that we might be able to team up with the school district and do an educational grant this year, and then prioritize places that we need to put sidewalks in, even on this building and this property. And so if the school district gets back to us, we could actually get the grant written really easily and do an education and build capacity on biking and walking, and then we could get money to actually build some infrastructure. And then third one is that I think I came and you guys passed a resolution to apply for a DOLA grant for the East Main water line replacement and stormwater runoff. If everybody knows that Upton's property, Doug probably knows more than anybody, comes a lake out there, and so we need to study the stormwater, and so we applied for a huge grant, and DOLA came back and said that's a little too ambitious, you guys need to scale that back, which is usually not a good sign, but we actually got the grant. We found out today it's a $176,000 grant that will pay for all the design for the stormwater and for the water system. And then we'll have to go for another grant to actually build it next year, but that's great news, so they'll be able to stay on target with the CDOT project that's going there. So any questions? Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Wade. Next.
I just want to say one thing real quick. On behalf of my staff and I'd like to thank the City Council for this last year, for working with us, supporting us as much as you have. It's been great, and looking forward to 2016. The council, the staff, everybody's been really good. Mary and I have bounced heads a few times, but it's okay now. Mike yelled at me, so I'm good. But thank you much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Glad to see all of them playing well together. All right, that takes care of all the department heads. Now let's go to the finance officer's report. Any report from you?
Right now, we're in the midst of doing all of our open enrollments. So that has been keeping me busy, and trying to get ready for the November financials. The October's I put in front. November I should have very soon. I would like to point out one thing on the bills request before someone happens to ask me, and that was there is $4,886.16 going to the 6 cents going to Cops for Kids. What it is the school resource officers did a couple fundraisers over the year to put away money. They don't have their own 501c3. They've kind of figured out that it's probably not where they want to go. So the city maintains that I will handle a little bit differently. I wasn't really sure where I was going with it this year. It is funds that, like I said, that they've earned through their golf tournament, that they are now going to cut the check. It will be issued, and they will cash it tomorrow, and they will take some of the kids from the school out shopping for Christmas.
That's great.
So Any funds that they don't spend will come back to the city on January 1. We'll put it back in and then they'll go forth for next year. But that's what that line
It's
item.
not taxpayer dollars.
It's
something
not
they
taxpayer dollars in
fundraise.
any way,
It's
so,
written through.
just in case someone goes, what is that?
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Cindy, manager's report.
I promise not to take more than 21 minutes on that. I'm kidding. Bob, I saw Bob looking at the clock. Okay, I'm going to give you a quick rundown. We had the mayor-manager's coffee chat last Thursday. I'll give you the quick topics that came up. There was a discussion about making sure we joined the CTC tree committee thing. We did that, it was like $60, but it got us in as a Tree City USA, we should be doing that. Then we had a pretty substantial discussion about recycling in the community, what's offered by local companies, that kind of stuff. Manfred and Rhiannon have done an analysis on that and are going to help us some more. And then the thought is that we will bring eventually to the city council, looking at going out for an RFP for more full recycling services and doing it in a more thoughtful manner. We're kind of recognizing that this year's budget includes going with the UACOG program again, but the problem with that is it's very expensive. And so we're going to have, my thought is we need to give them notice probably about October of next year, have it worked out what we want to do, and eventually split off from that. They've done tremendous. Beth is still, a part of her duties is to be a consultant for us, so we may still have some contractual situation with them as well. We want to work through that. But if we're going to be in recycling, I think we really need to do it the best possible way. And what we're doing right now really isn't the best possible way. So a lot of discussion was there. Manfred discussed industrial hemp here. We had that same discussion last week, and we really appreciate him bringing that up last week. We had some discussion about Fremont County Tourism Commission and the grants that are coming open. Urban renewal and the possibility of using the urban renewal district to help incentivize the creation, getting a boutique hotel in downtown Florence. And then there was also a discussion about a joint meeting with the school board and the city council, trying to set that up at some point. So we'll be working on getting that set up. And then there were also some questions about sexually violent predators and where they're living in the community. And the police chief can get that information out to people. He's got the ability to get that from Nancy. And we definitely want to encourage more council members to make those meetings. If you can make those meetings, that would be great. We then also went to the mayor's meeting, which was actually the day before. On Wednesday, the mayors of the local communities. Starting next month, the primary topics are that starting next month, Canyon City's new mayor, Preston Troutman, will actually show up. Canyon City's never made a meeting before, so they will make one now in the future. There was a lot of discussion about the Humane Society and a lot of unhappiness amongst the different communities. I think you're all pretty familiar with that subject. And just a lot of concern about the price changes and exactly what's going on there. Then the final topic that they discussed, the mayor of Coal Creek, Mayor Bechtelheimer, invited everybody out this last Saturday to a breakfast. It was $6. I went. It was good. I tried to get Keith to go. And then, let's see, some other subjects. Tomorrow night, FEDC is having their quarterly meeting where they invite people from different larger sponsors and whatnot. And as we're very involved with FEDC, we count as one of those. That meeting starts at 5 at the FEDC offices. I have to be there earlier from 3:30 to 5 for the FEDC executive committee, but then I've got to get to the chamber for an executive committee. I'm hoping that some member of the council who's not on the water committee could go and go to that FEDC meeting tomorrow. They'll give you food, they might even give you wine, I'm not sure. So if there's anybody who would like to go, and it can't be Keith or Larry because the water committee, the regional water committee is in meeting at 6:30. So I guess you could go, but you could only stay until like 6. So if anybody would like to go and be Florence's representative, please let me know afterwards so I can let them know. Let's see, executive session tonight. I'm requesting executive session for a lawsuit on a water court case and on contract negotiations. Want to point out, in your budget, we had kind of as far as we can tell, an unprecedented thing happened. When you look at your October numbers, we finished the month of October, for the month of October, I had $12,940.52. We can't find another October in history where we were ever positive for the month of October. October is usually a negative month in terms of we get more of our revenues earlier in the year, but somehow, a lot of credit to the department heads. They really kept the expenditures down, and so October was a very good month for the city, and to the year-to-date, we are $117,451.90 to the good. I know there's been some discussion from council members about bonuses for the staff or something like that, and that will be happening. Probably not huge or anything like that, but, so we'll let you know that is going to happen. And that is pretty much it. Just we want to remind Mayor Orr and Mayor Pro Tem Baker that the water committee, the regional water, is tomorrow at 6:30.
6:30, right.
They trade seats, basically. All right, that is all I have. There's far less than 21 minutes, right?
And we need to make sure, I don't know if everybody looked at their new appointments for the committees they sit on. Did you recognize them?
We will. We forgot to put on the regional consolidated dispatch, so we'll have to add that one on there. And so there could be some other changes, but that one we have to put on there.
Okay. Moving forward, Larry, you know what's next? You know what's next?
Oh, yes. I make a motion, we pay the bills.
There you
I
go.
almost forgot to do that.
I'll second.
We got a first, second. Roll call, please.
Counselor Baker?
Aye.
Counselor Henniger?
Aye.
Counselor Villagrana?
Aye.
Counselor Smith?
Aye.
Counselor Upton?
Aye.
Counselor Vendetti?
Aye.
Mayor Orr?
Aye. Okay. Now I need another motion from someone.
For executive committee, I'll make a motion.
Executive session.
I make a motion that we adjourn to executive session to discuss topics as stated.
I think there's just one, isn't there, the water court case?
Water court case and then
Two.
negotiations, contract negotiations.
Contract.
And both should, I think, be relatively short. We'll see.
All right. Roll call.
We got
We got a first and second,
I'll
didn't we? Yeah. You didn't hear it?
Counselor Upton?
Aye.
Some of these
Counselor
microphones
Smith?
Aye.
down here.
Counselor Henniger?
Aye.
Counselor Villagrana?
Aye.
Counselor Vendetti?
Aye.
Counselor Baker?
Aye.
Mayor Orr?
Aye. Okay. We're gonna take about a 5-minute break and then we'll be in there.